Happy Sunday, everyone. Hope one out there is enjoying your weekend. We got a lot of changes happening over the next 7 to 10 days with a significant dip in the jet stream. That's going to cause multiple rounds of severe storms in the week ahead, plus much needed rain for a lot of areas. It really hasn't seen much over the last 6 weeks. So let's delve into the details. First, let's start off with the North American view. You can really see what's happening. We've got the formation of that significant dip in the jet stream. That's going to be dragging down some cooler air for our western regions, especially into the Pacific Northwest, or eventually sneaking down into California. Whew. But out ahead of it, man, we've got this dominating ridges of high pressure. That's just been a lot of sinking air for pretty much a good part of the month of October. And there's so much heat, exceptionally warm heat over the next couple of days with I lost count of how many record high temperatures are likely going to be broken over the next several days. And this is actually the remnants of what was Christy, that was originally actually a Category 5 hurricane out there in the Pacific. So if we expand the view, take a look at the overall satellite picture, you can see what's happening. Yeah, there is the kind of the leftovers of what was Christy out there off the West Coast. But you can definitely see the ridge of high pressure with this big old H that's just been dominating much of the country. A lot of sinking air, very difficult to rain under that environment. But further south, we still are watching the Caribbean. And in fact, the National Hurricane Center has become a little bit more bullish on this activity right here. It's going to still take a while. We've been watching this for a while. But nonetheless, this could be our next storm maker. And if it does form into a tropical system, it would take the name Patty. So right now, the National Hurricane Center has a 40% chance of this formation over the next 7 days. So really, we're going to be starting to keep an eye on this after Halloween. But if you got plans down there in the Caribbean, I would definitely keep on high alert with this system, because some models are starting to form this into a tropical system and even possibly a hurricane if some of the models do come to fruition. But that will be likely the next named storm. So closer to home, here's what we're contending with for tomorrow. And man, look at that, folks. Look at the heat that is just surging well into Canada. We've got so many records are going to be breaking tomorrow that's going to be just unheard of. I mean, crazy warm for late October. But there's the beginning stages of the big changes that lie ahead with that significant dip in the jet stream. And that's going to bring back some showers and thunderstorms for those Intermountain West regions with that area of low pressure. And eventually, as those colder temperatures sink a little bit further south, that's going to be starting to have the snow flying, especially for those Intermountain West regions. And eventually, that's going to make it into Wyoming, into areas of Utah, back into Colorado there. But on Tuesday morning, that's when you're going to start to feel the heat, folks. Yeah, this is exceptionally warm. I mean, just unheard of warm, 15, 20, 25, upwards to almost 30 degrees above average. So these morning lows are going to be pressing 60 to nearly 70 degrees, well up into Nebraska, back into Iowa, even in Wisconsin. I mean, this is going to be insanely warm for late October timeframe. And look where we've been the last 30 days. Talk about the dry spell. This is a 30-day map of precipitations. You can see multiple states hardly got anything at all, and much of Oklahoma and Texas, Louisiana, portions of Arkansas, even in the southeast where they did have Helene. But remember, like Atlanta, they haven't really seen a drop of rain over the last 30 days since Helene left. But it's the middle part of the country. It's just been kind of bone dry. And that is where the area that's most favorable to bring back some much needed rain, unfortunately, that's going to be in the form of severe weather some days as well. So we're going to break all this down. And here is the significant trough that we'll be diving in. Once this digs into the Four Corners regions, we'll have a upper level disturbance out ahead of it. So we should likely start to see rounds of severe storms. The first formation would likely be on Tuesday, and then going on Wednesday, and then we'll fine tune the Halloween forecast, because it's going to be able to tap into an abundance amount of moisture. Obviously, with those low temperatures high as they are, that means the dew points are even high as well. And whenever you see a 55 or higher, that's at least gives you the probability of seeing some severe storms. So you've got 55 or higher basically all the way to Canada. So it's going to be leaving nothing off the table as very rare conditions. Instead of talking a snowstorm in Duluth, we're going to be talking about severe storms for late October. So there's going to be a line of thunderstorms that's likely going to unfold from Dodge City to Wichita to Topeka, back into Hastings, as well as into Omaha, back up here to Sioux Falls, and eventually go all the way further north into Minneapolis, and eventually end up in Duluth. And it could even extend well even into southern Canada. That's exceptionally unusual for late October, but that is the environment that we are in going on Tuesday. And then I think it even gets more intense as we head into Wednesday with a little bit more significant dip in the jet stream. That is going to cause an even powerful jet streak to the surface and cause more rounds of severe storms, because you're going to have a little bit higher moisture content to be able to work with. So now we're, instead of the 50s and low 60s, now we're talking mid 60s and pressing almost 70 dew points. So that means likely we are going to be seeing a little bit more intensity to these storms heading into Wednesday, and they're going to be a little bit further south. So right now, even a day 4 risk, the Storm Prediction Center went ahead and went out and said, hey, this is the most favored area for severe storms. Now, I think, once we get a little bit closer, this will likely be upgraded and likely be elongated and expanded as well. But nonetheless, right now, we do have a good part of North Texas into play, much of Oklahoma, back into Arkansas, getting into Kansas, as well as into Missouri, but it's likely going to extend well north and a little bit further south as we get a little bit more fine-tuned, as more of the dynamics start to come together. And it's likely going to be a late afternoon into the evening type of setup, with showers and thunderstorms and likely turning severe with all 3 modes. Definitely a big time hail producer, damaging winds, and likely going to be seeing an isolated tornado, especially there in Oklahoma and further north into Kansas. Those are going to be your favored areas for possible tornadoes. But exceptionally large hail could unfold with this setup. So we'll be fine tuning this as we get closer to this event. But the next day is Halloween, folks, right? So a lot of people's been asking, some people have the little kids, right? They go trick-or-treating, and what's going to happen on Halloween? So as you wake up on Halloween, we'll have the remnants of that storm maker from the overnight still producing a line of showers and thunderstorms, likely not severe. They will likely be still within the Dallas-Fort Worth area, back into central Texas, heading into East Texas, going into Arkansas, Missouri, back into Illinois, portions of Louisiana, and those swing all the way up into the Great Lakes. That is around 6 o'clock in the morning on your Halloween. But as you get into that 6, 7 o'clock, when you're starting to get to likely go out for your trick-or-treating, for take out the little kids, then where's the precipitation going to be? So anywhere you see green within, say, that 6-hour window, you might likely be out and have some Halloween plans. You are going to be likely seeing some showers and thunderstorms in and around the Houston area, much of Louisiana, back into portions of Arkansas, Mississippi, Western Tennessee, Kentucky, getting into Illinois, and going up here into Ohio. Those areas points northbound into New York, and then there's in the Pacific Northwest. Other than that, you should be on the drier side for your trick-or-treating and have a nice evening for those outside of that green shaded area. But I think it just ramps up again as we head into Friday, because that cold front is not going to be able to shift further east. It's actually going to be stalling out and kind of backing up as a warm front, and then we'll have a renewed surge of moisture coming back into play as the Gulf of Mexico will be opening back up again, portions of Texas, Oklahoma, back into Kansas. You'll likely see a renewed round of showers and thunderstorms, and yet another round heading into Saturday. So this is going to be a wet period ahead after you haven't seen much of rain at all for an extended period of time, like I showed you on that 30-day map. So more heavy rain back in the picture for central and north Texas, Oklahoma, back into Kansas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, back into Iowa, getting into Illinois. So those areas are going to be favored wet. And then again, next weekend, from that second, third, and fourth time frame, there's the bullseye with a slight risk for heavy rainfall from Texas to Louisiana to Mississippi, western Tennessee, Kentucky, southern Illinois, back into Missouri, as well as into Arkansas, much of Kansas, back into Oklahoma. That's going to be another wet time. And then it doesn't end there, folks, as it starts to become even more active with another dip, even another upper level disturbance. And look how far south it digs, all the way in the Baja. Kind of rare actually for a La Nina type setup, but nonetheless, this is what we have with an upper level low digging so far south. Obviously, that's going to put areas in the southwest back into play heading into Tuesday. But before that, it's going to bring another round of showers and thunderstorms, more instability back into the plains, for the southern plains, the central plains, extending into the upper Midwest. And as that upper level low continues to intensify and lifts further north, yes, that puts areas that I know hasn't seen rain in a long time for areas into Southern California, much of Arizona, where Phoenix has just had a relentless summer. And then back into New Mexico. So we'll have, heavier rains back into New Mexico, extending into this would be your Tuesday, November 5th time frame. Heavier rains extend back into the Texas Panhandle, back into Oklahoma. So you can see definitely Oklahoma and Texas gets hit hard over the next 5 to 7 days, starting on Wednesday. So you could have, go 6 weeks without much, and then have 7 or 8 days in a row, at least measurable precipitation. But overall, you got the Tuesday setup, you have the Wednesday, you have the Halloween, you have Friday, and then by the time we head into Saturday, going into the following week on Wednesday, yes, with that another system digging into the Baja, yes, that's going to put the darker green back in the map for Arizona, as well as into New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, back into Kansas, and much of the Central Plains. And where you start off wet, you're going to start ending dry for those areas into the Pacific Northwest, and much of the Southeast I do feel is going to still remain on the drier side, and you're not really going to get that cool front either. So yes, I know areas along the East Coast hasn't seen much rain at all either over the last several weeks, and unfortunately this area is still going to miss out on a lot of the precipitation that the middle part of the country is going to get over the next 7 to 10 days. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch the next update where I protect you before and after the storm.